You know, sometimes in life we walk around carrying burdens. We were never meant to carry pressures, doubts, fears, and the weight of our own past. We think we're alone. We think we have to figure everything out by ourselves. But friend, I want to tell you something today. There is a truth in Islam so powerful, so life-changing, that if you embrace it, you'll never look at your life the same way again. This truth has lifted people from darkness to light. It has pulled hearts from despair into hope. It has healed broken souls, rebuilt shattered confidence, and awakened destinies that people didn't even know they had. And here's the amazing part. This truth is not complicated, not hidden, not reserved for the perfect. It is available to you right now, wherever you are in your journey. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you feel overlooked. Maybe you've prayed for something and it seems delayed. Or maybe life has thrown you into a season you didn't see coming. But Islam teaches us this powerful truth. Allah is closer to you than you think. Closer than your struggles, closer than your fears, closer than your own heartbeat. When you understand this one truth that Allah is near, guiding you, loving you, supporting you, writing a beautiful plan for you, then suddenly the pressure lifts, the fear fades, the doubt disappears. Because you realize you are not walking alone. You're not fighting battles by yourself. You're not carrying burdens without divine help. You're not dreaming dreams that God cannot fulfill. Islam teaches that when Allah is with you, even the impossible becomes possible. When Allah is with you, He can turn your valley into victory, your test into testimony, your setback into a setup for something greater. Friend, if you grab hold of this one truth, your life, your mindset, your future, they will all shift. Because you'll stop relying on your own strength and start relying on the one whose strength has no limits. And as we begin this message today, I want you to open your heart, because this truth is about to awaken something inside you. It's about to remind you who you truly are, loved by Allah, guided by Allah, strengthened by Allah, chosen by Allah. This one truth could change everything for you. Today, we're diving deep into a principle that sits at the heart of Islam, a truth that has carried believers through storms, lifted them to higher levels, and given them confidence in the face of the hardest moments. It's a truth that, once you understand it, transforms the way you think, the way you pray, the way you walk through life. Islam reminds us again and again, Allah is with you. Not later, not only when you're perfect, not only when everything is going right, but right now, in your struggle, in your pain, in your uncertainty, in your hopes and dreams. When you truly understand that Allah is near, that His presence is not distant or symbolic, but real and active in your life, something shifts inside you. There is a confidence that rises, not arrogance, not pride, but a calm, steady assurance that you are supported by a power far greater than anything you face. Islam teaches us that Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein, closer than our own thoughts, closer than the worries that try to overwhelm us. And when this truth settles in your heart, you stop living from a place of fear and start living from a place of faith. You begin to walk differently, think differently, and approach life with a strength that doesn't come from you. It comes from knowing who stands with you. You stop being intimidated by challenges because you understand that the one who created solutions before the problems even appeared is guiding your steps. When people doubt you, you don't fall apart because your validation doesn't come from them. When life feels heavy, you don't sink because you know a hand from above is carrying what you cannot. That's the confidence that comes from knowing Allah is near. It's not based on circumstances, it's based on certainty. It's the quiet whisper in your heart that says, you can do this. You can handle this. You can rise from this because Allah is with you. And when you walk with this confidence, doors open that you never expected. Opportunities find you. Strength comes to you in moments when you thought you had nothing left. Even when you take steps into the unknown, you don't walk timidly, you walk boldly because you trust that Allah has already prepared the path. You start focusing less on what could go wrong, and more on what Allah can make go right. You worry less about who is against you and start resting in the truth that the Lord of the worlds is for you. This confidence doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means you become unshakable. Stress may come, but it won't break you. Fear may whisper, but it won't control you. Doubt may knock, but it won't stay. Because deep inside, you know that every moment of your life is watched, protected, and guided by the one who loves you more than a mother loves her child. And that kind of love gives you courage. That kind of protection gives you peace. That kind of presence gives you confidence. You begin to pray with a stronger heart because you believe your words are heard. You begin to dream bigger because you trust that Allah can fulfill what seems impossible. You begin to face challenges with steadiness because you know they were tailor-made to strengthen you, not to stop you. And even when something doesn't go your way, you don't fall into despair because you believe there is a wisdom beyond your understanding working for your good. That is what happens when the truth of Allah's nearness settles into your soul. You stop shrinking back and start stepping forward. You stop doubting yourself and start believing in what Allah can do through you. When you understand that you are never alone, even in the battles no one knows you're fighting, a deep sense of comfort settles into your heart. Islam teaches this again and again. Allah sees you, Allah hears you, Allah knows every silent struggle you carry. There are moments in life when you smile on the outside but feel overwhelmed on the inside. Moments when you encourage others while you yourself feel drained. Moments when you lie awake at night trying to figure out how to keep going. Those moments can make you feel invisible, forgotten, or unsupported. But the truth is Allah is closest to you in your hardest moments. He is with you in ways no human could ever be, with full understanding, full mercy, full guidance. You don't have to explain your pain to Allah. He already knows every detail of it. You don't have to justify your tears. He has already counted each one. You don't have to pretend to be strong because He sees the weight you're carrying even when others don't. That knowledge brings a quiet strength. It reminds you that even when the world doesn't understand what you're going through, your Creator understands perfectly. Even when people walk away, Allah stays. Even when no one hears the cries of your heart, Allah hears every whisper. That truth keeps you grounded. It keeps you steady. It keeps you from collapsing under the pressures of life. Sometimes the hardest battles are the internal ones, the ones fought in the mind, in the heart, in the privacy of your own soul. You may be battling fear, self-doubt, old wounds, or disappointments you never talk about. But knowing that Allah is with you in each of those internal struggles gives you courage to keep going. You start to realize that your loneliness is not a sign of abandonment. It's a doorway for deeper connection with Allah. Your silence isn't empty. It's filled with His presence. Your weakness isn't a flaw. It's an opportunity for His strength to show up in your life. Islam teaches that Allah is closer in your struggle than in your comfort, closer in your tears than in your laughter. That means your darkest moments are often the ones where His light is shining strongest. And when this truth becomes a part of you, something changes. You stop feeling helpless because you know you're supported by a power far beyond human help. You stop feeling unseen because you know the one who sees all things sees you most clearly. You stop feeling defeated because you know Allah is fighting battles for you that you don't even know exist. You begin to move forward with a renewed sense of hope, not because the situation is easy, but because you know you're not facing it alone. You start to handle challenges with dignity because you know the most merciful is holding your heart steady. You start to believe again, try again, hope again, because you know Allah is writing a story for you that doesn't end in pain, but in purpose. Even when you walk through seasons of silence, you are not abandoned. Even when you face hardship, you are not forgotten. Even when you feel weak, you are not unsupported. Every step you take, every tear you shed, every breath you breathe, Allah is with you through it all. That truth gives you the strength to rise when life pushes you down. It gives you the courage to keep moving when the path feels uncertain. It gives you the peace to trust even when you don't fully understand. When you begin to trust that Allah's plan is always working, even when you cannot see anything happening, a new kind of calm begins to take over your life. Islam teaches us that nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and nothing in your life is outside of Allah's knowledge and wisdom. Sometimes we look at our situation and think nothing is moving. Nothing is changing. My prayers aren't being answered. But what you must understand is that Allah is always working behind the scenes in ways you cannot imagine. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean Allah isn't preparing it. Just because the blessing hasn't arrived doesn't mean it isn't already written for you. Allah's timing is perfect, and His planning is flawless. There are moments when life feels stuck, when your efforts seem to lead nowhere, and when your heart feels tired from waiting. It's easy to think nothing is happening, but in those very moments, Allah is aligning people, opportunities, protection, and lessons for your future. He is rearranging the path, shaping your character, strengthening your patience, and preparing you for what you ask for. Sometimes the reason you don't see movement is because Allah is building the foundation for something bigger than you expected. A small blessing requires a small preparation, but a great blessing requires a deeper, longer preparation. When you understand this, you stop panicking during delays and start trusting Allah's wisdom. You begin to realize that hidden progress is still progress and silent planning is still planning. Even the hardships you go through are part of that divine plan. What feels like a setback might be Allah repositioning you. What feels like a loss might be clearing space for something better. What feels like the end might actually be the beginning of a chapter you never saw coming. Islam teaches that Allah never tests a soul beyond what it can bear. And if He brings you into a difficulty, He is already preparing the way out of it. The path may not always make sense to you, but it always makes sense to the one who created you. He knows where your heart needs healing, where your mind needs strengthening, and where your soul needs growth. Every step, even the painful ones, carries purpose. Nothing in your life is meaningless when Allah is the one writing your story. And when this truth truly settles in your heart, your relationship with patience changes. You stop rushing what Allah is perfecting. You stop forcing what Allah is protecting you from. You stop doubting what Allah has already written for you. You begin to walk with peace because you trust that what is meant for you will always reach you, and what isn't meant for you will pass even if you chase it. You begin to realize that Allah's plan doesn't need to make sense for it to be working. It doesn't need your timeline, your understanding, or your approval. It simply needs your trust. And the more you trust, the more you start to see how every moment, every delay, every redirect, every closed door was actually leading you towards something better, something wiser, something beautifully designed just for you. When you understand that hardship is never a punishment, but a preparation, your entire perspective toward life begins to change. Islam teaches us that difficulties are not signs that Allah is displeased with you. They are signs that He is shaping you, strengthening you, and building something inside you that comfort never could. We often assume that if life gets hard, something must be wrong. But in reality, some of the greatest transformations happen in the moments when we feel the most pressure. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified through fire. And hearts are strengthened through trials. Allah allows certain challenges into your life not to break you, but to prepare you for what He has written for you. Every hardship carries a lesson, a wisdom, a growth that you might not see in the moment. Sometimes the struggle is there to teach you patience. Sometimes it's to deepen your reliance on Allah. Sometimes it's to detach you from something you were holding on to more tightly than Him. Sometimes it's to push you toward a blessing you weren't ready to receive. And sometimes the hardship is actually protecting you from something you didn't even know was coming. When you begin to see your difficulties as preparation rather than punishment, the weight becomes lighter. The pain becomes meaningful. The waiting becomes purposeful. You realize that Allah is not taking you through something to hurt you. He is taking you through something to equip you. Think back on your own life. The strongest parts of you were formed in your hardest seasons. The wisdom you carry today didn't come from ease. It came from endurance. The faith you have now was born in moments when you had no choice but to trust. The resilience inside you was shaped by days when you thought you wouldn't make it. That is the beauty of hardship in Islam. It elevates you, purifies you, and brings you closer to Allah in ways comfort never could. When everything is easy, we often forget to turn to Allah. But when life gets heavy, our heart naturally calls out to Him. And that connection, those tearful prayers, those whispered hopes, those sincere moments of surrender is part of the preparation. Allah knows what you can handle, and He knows what you need to grow. He knows the future in a way you never could. So when He allows a hardship into your life, it is always for a reason. Maybe the challenge is building your character for a blessing that requires emotional strength. Maybe it's strengthening your heart for responsibilities that are coming. Maybe it's teaching you compassion so you can help others one day. Maybe it's delaying you to protect you from a path that wasn't meant for you. Nothing Allah sends your way is random, and nothing is without purpose. Hardship is the gym where your soul trains. It's the classroom where your faith learns. It's the doorway to a version of you that you couldn't reach without going through the process. When this truth settles in your heart, you stop viewing difficulties as signs of failure or punishment. Instead, you begin to see them as divine tools. You start embracing growth instead of resisting it. You start finding strength where you once felt weakness. You begin to realize that every hardship is delivering something: clarity, wisdom, elevation, or redirection. And even though the process may be painful, the outcome is always beneficial because Allah is the one guiding it. When you understand that every prayer is heard and every tear is counted, your heart begins to soften in a way that brings both strength and peace. Islam teaches that no whisper you make to Allah is ever ignored, and no tear that falls from your eyes goes unnoticed. Sometimes you pray and it feels like nothing is changing, but what you don't see is how those prayers are moving things in the unseen world. Every why Allah you say is recorded. Every moment of pain you express is witnessed with complete mercy. Even the silent prayers you make when you don't have the strength to speak are carried straight to the one who understands your heart without words. This truth gives you the courage to keep praying even on the days you feel tired. It reminds you that your tears are not signs of weakness, but signs of connection. They are a form of worship, a way your heart speaks directly to its Creator. And when you realize that Allah values every tear you shed for Him, you stop viewing your emotional moments as failures and start seeing them as moments of closeness. Your prayers are never wasted. Your tears are never ignored. Allah stores them, responds to them, and uses them to bring you closer to the blessings written for you.